Hey everybody, welcome to another video. My name is Elric, and in this video we are going to make Microsoft SQL build most of the code for our Node API. Basically, I need a way for Microsoft for t-sql to send data to MySQL, which is on the VPS. And I need a way for our applications to access that data. So instead of chucking through an API for every table, well, why not make SQL build it? Let's make SQL do all the work for us. That's not really SQL work. And that's part of the master data management mentality, is because we have all the data here, because we're so consistent on how to access this data, we can make Microsoft build code that's not, or we can make t-sql build code that's not t-sql. Crazy, right? So I hope you enjoy, and I will see you right after the intro. Alrighty, so the Node API or API call is really two pieces. There is the MySQL query and the JavaScript on the outside. So very quickly, I want to go over my process. Like, I had to create the MySQL piece first before I created the Node API, just to make sure that my code was there. And this is kind of how I did it. First, this is for one data set at a time, but I used a Dataset Cursor on the outside, and this is a code that it creates. We have our set with our known name, our very common naming format equals question mark, so we can send a post body array and replace them as necessary. Then we have the insert statement, insert into the view, and then the values. But MySQL, I found this thing, I think it's like merge, where, merge in t-sql is when matched, then insert, when matched, then update, if not matched, then insert. So what this does is this tries to insert the values, and if we collide on our primary key, then it's going to update the rest of the data, which is what I want from the deployment standpoint. I want to send data to this API and it just to fix the data I have on MySQL. So very quickly, I'm not even going to go over this code, just kind of on the higher level. I start with the Dataset Cursor. Even though I'm doing one data set, I know I'm going to iterate through an entire database because I work at the database at a time. I'll create my data main API and then my system main code, and I'll combine it later. But I have my Dataset Cursor on the outside, and then I went through and I used the same definition, column definition to table for a select view. Same code we did in the last video, same code I did way back in the creating view days. But I did it 4 times. One for the set, one for the insert into, one for the values piece, and one more for the update piece. Now, to get it to run, to be able to execute and see that code, perfect. But then I optimize it, because that's first thing. Proof of concept, then optimize. So in my optimization, this is what this code is going to create, kind of what I was talking about. We have a put request at a very specific URL. We have our query, which is very long, but it's the same code that was displayed here, just condensed. And then we have our request body, so another delimited list, and then the rest of our JavaScript. So here I use the same code, table on the outside, one data point cursor on the inside. And what I did here is I made each piece. So if I run this, I can go over each piece separately. So the entire view definition, the first piece I created was the request body, which is this array right here. It's pretty long, just comma delimited, easy stuff. And I just concatenated a variable, so I can store my comma delimited list. Did it again for the set piece from the MySQL side. Did it again for the insert into piece, comma delimited values for MySQL. Did it again for the actual app value, insert into values. That's the next piece I did. Then finally, I did the, on duplicate key, then update. So all of this are just, let me minimize this, very slight variations on concatenating the transform column name, which is our view name, and ats or equals or rec body, just super simple stuff. Then after the data point cursor was done, that's when I printed my values. So that's where I did all of my work so I can clear out my variables and then get the next data set. So just printed out what it was going to be. I'm able to trim my data set. So this is how I want my API, my path on my API, and then I was able to concatenate to make the very long my SQL string and my post body or my array, and then, my simple error handling, send me an error or send me the success. So when I run it, I get 214 different put requests in just a little over a second. If I open it up in Visual Code, this is basically all of that code sitting here. So yeah, very interesting way to make Microsoft SQL create code that's not SQL, just through the use of patterns. We have the tables, we know what's in them, we know we need to send the data. Why not do it this way? I mean, now if I ever make any changes, I have to make changes in one little area, rerun it again, update pages of JavaScript, and I'm good to go. I don't have to go into this JavaScript and be like, oh, so-and-so wrote it this way, this other person wrote it that way, oh, this person used this library. And no. We're using MySQL 2 library and body parser and Express. That's all we're using. So actually, I did send this forward to my API to make sure it worked, and it does work. I did get a modification going into my MySQL. Actually, which one did I think I only sent food right now? We go FOD food. Yep. So I sent the food realm, class, family, type, and food to this API, and I'll show you how to do that in the next video where I made SQL generate dynamically JSON, send the JSON to SQL inside of SQL to a Python script that sent it to my API. So that's it for this video. Tune in for the next one for more Python SQL stuff. Hope you enjoy, and remember, like, comment, subscribe, notification, all that YouTube stuff, and I will see you next time.